Kamusta? I'm Elsie. Welcome to the Roundtable podcast. We've created the space for Ni Vanuatu women to speak freely on issues affecting us today. Let's navigate life in the islands together. Join me as I speak to a new guest every episode and ask the questions you've always wanted to ask. Ale, Yumistorian. This project is made possible with the support of the We Rise Coalition and PACMAS. Tides are changing for the world, and that means tides are changing here in Vanuatu as well. That also means that the role of women and their capacities are being recognized more as we are becoming more aware of women and the important role that they play in our communities. However, there are still some areas that we are tackling. One of these areas is economic empowerment. Now, I'm sure you've heard of this before, but what does it truly mean to be economically empowered, and why is it so important? On this episode, we explore the different levels of economic empowerment and how it can impact different aspects of our lives as women living in Vanuatu. Our guest today is Jemima Nalo. Jemima graduated this year in May with a Bachelor of Science. Congrats again, Jemima. And she currently works at World Vision Vanuatu under the Urban Climate Resilience Project, which is under the Climate Resilience and Livelihood portfolio. The portfolio's aim is to support the most vulnerable members in the community, like women and young girls, to understand the impacts of climate change and adapt to these changes. This is done through savings groups, how to create healthy meals, and most importantly, how to be resilient at times of natural disasters. One of the key activities under this project is the Inclusive Savings for Transformation, a savings group set up in numerous communities around Port Vila to empower people in the community, especially women, to save money. It is a great initiative, and Jemima has been helping World Vision roll out this key activity for the last 3 years. Thanks so much for joining me at the Roundtable, Jemima.
Thank you, Elsie, for having me.
So there was a recent case study of Vanuatu done by Australian Aid, where it showed in 2011 that 61% of women were part of the labor force. However, only 33% were part of the formal working sector. Now, in the report, it was also identified that the majority of women worked in agriculture and had their own small businesses set up in the communities. Now, there's a lot of efforts being made towards economic empowerment of women across all sectors. And, you've been in your line of work for a while. You've had heaps of experience of economic empowerment in our communities across Vanuatu. So I want to know, what does economic empowerment mean to you in the work that you do?
Thank you, Elsie. So, Lomi economic empowerment, meaning say you give back opportunity, you give back controller, you give back power. Igolo, suppose you may talk about individual, you give back to individual. Suppose you may talk about target group, you give back that power, the control, that opportunity. You go back to target group, lo always have a grow financially, not just maximizing their profit, but only economically empowered in all things. One holistic approach, always have make more decisions. Lol kita regarding batu weli karem or even lo profit weli kainem. Lo fashional same hemi make him say all kita only feels the only worth more only self-identified inside all communities lol kita. So to me that is economically empowered. Lo work with me make him also one field worker with the current NGO where me start with them. Me fly support them too economic empowered lo one holistic approach. So me fly also you rightly tell me fly support them all kita lo only kasem save lo only save safe so that they can be economically empowered. Supposedly got some existing businesses. How no mi vle support them all kita plo li kasim save plo oli stop go ahead plo oli make more decision plo grow in business plo kita oli feel se oli got control oli got power oli got opportunity plo li save grow mo own one na oli got. Yes, thank you.
That's great to hear. Me like how you tell you came back that control back to them to have that, ownership of what they're doing, being able to do what they want, what they feel is necessary for themselves and their communities. So I really like that. So when you do the work that you do in all the different communities that you've been in, what do you find are the impacts of economically empowering women in the communities?
Thank you. Pamitalem lo positive impacts lo economically empowering women in several communities. All men only classified or categorized as head blood household, but really you go inside all houses plumi or homes plumi, you look mamana hemi backbone lo plante lo kita something. So lol work plumi time you start work with them on communities. Time you look one woman hemi become economically empowered. Hemi make plenty wealthy decisions. Mitalang wealthy from men only look lo one kind lens. Women only look lo plenty different side. Yes, plo make sure say family blame stop safe. Family blame got enough. Small business where hemi got hemi try to keep pushing, go one step higher. Suppose you know make him good na be. Hemi want to make him good next time. So hemi just not stop no more blessa. Jenny blow one woman. Blow hemi like economically empowered. Hemi not just happen overnight. So working with World Vision for 3 years, time you step inside the community, you may look slowly or woman only. Emi had little bit only shake him off all cultural norms polketa. Be once time only empowered, you look only you look savvy, you realize him say, no, I'll get a right blow doctor or even only got right to blow like making business or some any naramano. One something when me like him about all women time only come economically empowered. Only got one confidence lol keta we hemi give him all keta say only got pride inside lol keta. That's one really good something. Time only shake him off culture. Minim say culture blue me no good. Plante them culture blue me holem tai jimi blue experience and plante na ravla something where is have empowered more grow him yumi all women more girls inside the community.
That's a lovely experience where you sort of share with them. I think that's wonderful to hear as well, that you can see the impact that's made when you guys go into these communities and share that knowledge and all these tools. And it's just great to hear that you can see that change in the women in the communities that you guys work in. So I think, like we mentioned earlier on, economic empowerment is a term that it's not as common as, women's empowerment or human rights. And it's a concept that we are still working on. So there was a report done by Vanuatu Rural Development Training Centers Association in 2007, which showed that even though female enrollment rates are growing faster than male enrollment rates in secondary education, it was still less likely for women to go onto tertiary education and be awarded government scholarships than the men. So considering, this and considering the access of education for women and girls, as well as many other different, factors in our country's context, do you think women in our communities really understand what economic empowerment is and how important it is?
So my opinion, I would say not 100% of that population, which is women, only really understand one economic empowerment. From plantel ol kita, same way you may sabe plantel ol kita li involve plantel na lo all informal work or businesses. So hemi want something where hemi stop long time, hemi stuck with them culture blimmy blow long time. Even you may look nowadays, ratio block women or girls to boys, it could be 3-1. So number of girls may grow very fast. But still, all kita find them hard lo only expose lo plenty opportunity. Also, all male with them all yes, all male or all men, more all boys. So Mimi thinks say hemi no full population ali understand them only no got knowledge lo one hemi economic empowerment. From where all get all kasem survey lehem or kasem training lehem or kasem like got plan the advocacy lo topic ya. For women's empowerment be lo side to economic empowerment. You mean how plan the too much advocacy lehem? Time got too much advocacy or too much awareness around lehem. All woman ya pali got plan the access lo knowledge ya survey even lol resources plehem too or survey where place ploli access ya from suppose all survey then but all really understand him whether economic empowerment hemi important lol keta or no meeting says suppose you got more advocacy lehem where hemi really come down good time you talk about advocacy plan the time you advocate lo level lo international no more be really lo community you must contextualize all resources plo you or whatever where you come plo kasem community hemi masutum context plo keta mo suppose you start work towards one target group, for example women time you start talk about economic empowerment blo women you must make them sure so all resources plo you only contextualize for this target group or some plo have a kasem good knowledge mo only try and understand them whether that topic hemi important lol keta or no but plo answer them question plo me not think 100% all women really understand him. More from all understand him, they wouldn't know if it's important to them or not. But I am sure that only looking all evidence, more only really want them grow out lo that shadow, only want them shake them off all cultural norms. We stop all them title together. I'm sure women and girls would only stop fight blow, try and find them one way.
Thank you. I really like that contextualizing information and the tools and must make it one way whereby come down the level block at will Elizabeth understand it more really put into practice and you're not just like you said advocating at that high international level but you're really putting in the work advocating so that they truly understand and can carry it out themselves. So that being said, how do we as organizations as well as individuals help teach and raise awareness on economic empowerment?
For that question, me interest answer plenty lo perspective lo one organization. Lo look lo one organization, one especially NGOs. I don't really know about government, but NGOs you must have different project where you target them different area. For example, the project that mimic work lahem, you look lo side lo livelihood more resilient. I got planted out of the project London the organization we missed up with them. I got him away look the side blow inclusive wash directly working with people living with disability. Project we work with them all youth. Project we work with them all bikini. Project we work with them all women no more. For an organization blow only target them topic economic empowerment. I believe in cross-cutting learning. For all projects, probably try and find a way, probably cross-cut more medium mo try linking economic empowerment with one objective for likat law project tol kita lo make sure say for example suppose program lo youth we're not just coming teaching more youth about whatever we use up teaching mol kita lempe you me try lo empower mol kita too economically so you me try make them cross cutting lo every naravala projects where one kind organization ikat also me lo you me save kilim two pitching with one stone you me start lo one project you make a plante, you make a target group living with them. Plante different approach. Lo make him say only well equipped, low life, low decision making spell get them or plante not something.
Oxfam in Guatemala carried out a study in 2015 on a program for women's economic empowerment, and in their research they found that economically empowering women had significant but like mixed impacts on women and the risk of domestic violence. So they found that economically empowering the women could either decrease the risk of domestic violence because, the women had stepped in to take that financial pressure away from the man and, be able to step in to help manage the finances. And so in one way, it was removing that tension and decreasing her risk of facing domestic violence. But then on the other side, they found that it could also potentially increase the risk of domestic violence because, the woman is able to make her own money. And the man would want to step in to either control how she was running the business or control how the money was being spent, and just having control over everything that she was doing. So there were two sides to it. And so granted, this is a study in Guatemala and its results may not be in line with our context here in Vanuatu, but it's clear that empowering women economically is a two-sided coin. What are some of the challenges that women face being economically empowered and financially independent? Are there some stories or maybe some experiences that you've seen or heard with the work that you do?
Thank you, Hema. One very interesting question. The previous question, me answer me tell them say by me talk about positive side of law and impact of law. Economically empowered is for the target group, which is all women. But of course, hemi got another side story and play him to based on culture blue Yumi. Yumi save say time Yumi grow up become Yumi looking finish through lol blah blue me come lol parent me planted time na all man now take him all first role or inside the home all get now all head the house all make him all decision making. So time you look say one woman hemi stop come slowly. Maybe me look like one scenario, hemi stop come go grow one business plan go or might hemi go engage one formal sector, one work or business plan hemi grow na hemi gain a maximize and profit plan hem. Na ya hemi got on batu plan hem, hemi sabe make him own decision lo how we hemi use money ya. You know got one doubt say by no got violence. Lo me for something when we think about them, you ask him question ya, hemi violence. That one woman, hemi economically empowered. Think about the hemi not just about money. It's decisions and there's plenty of the things where you follow after lehem. So inside the one relationship or one home, plenty time, male hemi want them dominant over law every something. Hemi want they got power law inside the relationship. Hem now by hemi tell them one blow make him, one no blow make him. So time you look the same hemi give him you one indication finish at them. Women only stop grow will become economically empowered. Yes, one side by might hemi down them risk by me sure say by violence girap hemi number one something whereby hemi first negative impact blow all women time only start come economically empowered by only stop facing physical violence any nara form of violence nara one hemi pali stop experience all different experience with them society or communities. From by communities stop look all get all same, but community expect them say even hemi work pay hemi should stop meet na lo man blame the man blame tell them how to spend the money. That's how it should go. Be hemi one wrong idea be hemi really hard to me compact them idea from hemi stop long time. So but woman experience him violence, but hemi experience him some naravlan negative look from society or community kolehem might even family blame too. Extended family for you mean live one you mean culture blame you mean not just a triangular family that's it. You mean me support way go back lol boo or auntie or uncles. So me look say that woman become economically empowered and we come to it and plant a challenges blame.
Thanks. That's really interesting. I never thought about how now by community look him. There's that challenge as well as the family maybe being like dependent that, okay, well, she has a business now, so she needs to support the family. She needs to support what her husband or her partner is doing. So that's interesting because I immediately thought of domestic violence as well, but that's a great addition to one of the many challenges that economically empowered women could face.
If I may add, yes, time one woman hemi stop commenta or decision making splahem or yes, the side economic, financially hemi stop grow, outlaw different negative impacts when me taleme. One something too hemi me think say hemi contribute plantel or to blow negative impacts hemi although you struggle you one lo rote blow as a woman you struggle you one rote blow come same stage where okay now you have identify me one say I believe Naya Mr. State me economically empowered because I can make decisions. Me have find a way all approaches blow earn income me support a family. Then you realize him say okay although me struggle me one but Naya there are plenty of people who really want to benefit like me now, like because me tell them family or even all naravala communities, naravala commitments to the community or church give him. Like that's one of the things where planted time, he me push him down all woman. But I think you me as a woman, outlaw every challenge. You me need to stand up. We need to rise above and rise beyond. Because you me all strong, you me strong, all women, all girls, we need to stand up for that. We cannot be shadowed for the rest of our lives. For you me live short time, no more wala. So you me must make him sure say you me got some opportunity as a small man. What's the purpose of coming here shadowed, being boxed by everything, and then at the end of the time you live in pleasure? Like me feel him say that experience him life to its fullness.
So thank you, Jemima, for sharing all of those different challenges that women could potentially face while they're economically empowering themselves and being financially independent. What advice can you give to those who may be facing these challenges, or what help or are there any services available for them?
Okay, my advice, lol kita will stop facing challenges. So only come economically empowered or supposedly got idea blahem, barely no sabe action him from only stop facing some challenges. Me first advice for me comfort zones. Me blow losers. So we women and girls, we're not losers, but we will be suppose where you me cut concept you me got idea but you me no action them. You mean him say you me stand normal or comfort zone blue you me no want to take in one good risk for a good objective or for a good goal. You me need to take him risk. Suppose you me stop no more or comfort zone blue you me by me one dream no more. Another one he got plenty services where me available all about that. Just because you me hindered by our culture and our all custom traditions play me, he may know one good for reason play Holland back you me la house. You me where you me live la villa, you me got plan the business houses, plan the partners, plan the agencies where you provide them all opportunity, all pathway, play you me save actually cause them knowledge, more enable him you me have a walk about the one where you me stop thinking lehem blow you make him say you me come economically empowered one day. Depending the one nature blow business where you stop thinking lehem. You me where you me stop lo santo, me believe to say you make at all opportunity also where you me have a walk around more look him and then seek him advice, seek him help. Him all services really available. The other thing that I'd like to mention is that these days social media, we grow. And it would be a surprise to me. Suppose when young fly me tell him say, hemi no call Facebook or hemi no call Instagram. Did they plant a little business house? Only network through the social media. Did they plant a little business house? Only network, NGOs, whatever business house it is, plant only network through the social media. So you me all young fly. And especially all women with them all girls. Anytime you me level up now, you me go one step higher. So It could you may find more opportunities at time. You may look, let's reach out. Give him one message. One him na you like stop make him. Make that kind idea also. Organization you like make him kind also too. Like, don't be in your comfort zone. Because you start a comfort zone, but you stop lopesa forever now, but you know sabe move. But you start a comfort zone, you look across, you look people at least elevate, but you start a same marketplace. That's just because you don't want to take one risk. You need to take a risk so that by you survey. Out the risk, but you learn and plan something, but you reflect, but you look say, okay, these are some things that maybe make me good, all challenges for me when I'm not way forward out him. And then slowly, then you expose the opportunity, but you find and plant different people where you got plenty different experience. So, economically empowered, you mean a woman and girls, you may not just think about the one perspective, it's all about the money. Try and maximize the profit, try and, upgrade the business. No, it's all about decision making to be successful in whatever you do. Me about all good flow choices, more decision making explore. You mean? I think one other something where me like Adam, me haram question me. Let's all be aware that not everyone wants to celebrate our success. So if you're you succeed lo one name you start making, if it's school, if it's a small business, whatever thing you're doing, just remember not everybody only want them celebrate them successfully. There are more people at your back who only sticking you, talk about you or rubbishing you. But you need to rise above and beyond because free lunch me find no more mouse trap. Me meaning say by Chinese no more you can say free lunch. You must work from. So even time you work from you can say want something. Not everyone only want to celebrate them successfully.
Thank you, Jemima. I really like how you answered that question, emphasizing that we need to step outside of our comfort zone in order to achieve what we want to achieve, and then bringing it back to the business owners to reach out and network with other business owners, with other people who have maybe gone through a similar experience and learn from their challenges. And it's wonderful to hear that advice coming from a young woman who has been able to witness as well women in the communities growing their own business, seeing that change. So I value that answer. Now, each episode, we ask our guest, what is the most important lesson you have learned as a woman navigating life in Vanuatu today?
I like that one. Me, one important lesson from me, I would say learn from the best. Learn from your elders. Just because we are growing and life is changing, the world is elevating, doesn't mean that you disregard them. Customer culture blue. There is some good value where westernization, I mean, so we give him blue, but you need to find what is good for you and then you try and match them. But as a young woman, me like and planted, me learn from the elders. I may not just the workplace at home, I would let everybody. I'm the one when me trail behind a woman or tata me plante. So me, I'd say me Jenny lo walk about there. Me like him learn from all elders.
Learning from our elders. Thank you, Jemima. That's a really lovely lesson that you have learned, and I hope that's something that other women and girls will maybe take into consideration, so that, like you said, we can have the best of both worlds. As always, we love to leave you with good information to take away from each episode. So what is economic empowerment? Economic empowerment is when the tools and opportunity is given back to the individual to make their own decisions financially, within their family, and it's also an opportunity for them to celebrate their achievement within their community. We heard from Jemima that there are many benefits and challenges to being financially independent, but whatever happens, ladies, step out of your comfort zone. Seek support from other people, other women who have set up businesses, seek advice, and network within your community. Social media is also a great way to build that network. Another thing, contextualized advocacy. We heard from Jemima today that we need to be advocating for economic empowerment. But when we do this, we need to make sure that it's contextualized so that all women, all girl, all communities, only really custom straight information, more understanding, economic empowerment, and why it's so important. That brings us to the end of another episode. We hope this conversation has opened your mind to the endless possibilities of being financially independent.
Thank you, Elsie, for having me. Me really enjoy my experience lo storian with you, and I look forward look at more storian and meeting plenty a lot of girls and women to this talk about la journey.
As always, thanks for listening to the Roundtable. Make sure to check us out on Facebook, Instagram, and TikTok at Sister Vanuatu and our website, sister.com.vu. This is Elsie from The Roundtable. If you want to hear more from The Roundtable podcast, make sure to tune in to the next episode.